past the Q&A session, we have a question right now from Yaman Figengür. For both of the presentations, she is asking this question, so any of you may respond it as you like. In the digital environment, the student works an assessment process, how you have progressed, and when you compare it with face-to-face evaluation process, what type of differences are taken into account when you are making a class assessment? I'm waiting for Fazıl Bey. The assessment process is not showing a significant difference. Only maybe the students, you mean the grading, if you are speaking about grading, there isn't a huge difference. We didn't have a huge difference. But if you're speaking about the self-assessment and self-evaluation of the student, I believe that it is more positive because all of the retrospective recordings were present and it was possible to go back and make an assessment and evaluation and develop themselves in Blackboard. It was possible to go back, and the previous speeches, our teachers have just mentioned that among their studies, it was possible to write some feedbacks and it was possible to share some feedbacks. And so this may be the difference. But when we look at the assessment and evaluation criteria, maybe it was essential to challenge the students to present in a better way. And this was something positive. This can be a very positive impact to be mentioned. That's all I would like to say. Thank you. And my opinion is similar to that, really. It was possible to archive the project progress, so it was more consistent to make a general evaluation and assessment. And when we look at the grading side, due to pandemic, under these hard conditions, they have achieved a great success, actually, a great job. It is possible to mention that also. Okay, we have one more question for both of our speakers. Since the libraries were not open, did you lead towards the online libraries more, and did you use image database type of resources instead of libraries, physical libraries? I myself, since I'm giving the basic design courses and the students are working on their own resources, the Shix library was sufficient enough, and of course there were some ebooks which we have applied. And image databases are present, and maybe they are for the higher classes. So I'll pass the floor to Fazıl Bey. E-sources have been used more and have been recognized more. It is possible to state that, and in my courses, I have always focused on the e-books and e-sources, how it would be possible to reach them. I was making such kind of a research in the past. Maybe it was not something necessary, but now making use of such kind of sources have become more vital. It is possible to state that. And from now on, most probably, people will be more familiar to such kind of sources. Thank you very much. I have a few words to ask. It can be related, we can relate it. I would like to address my question to Derya Karadağ firstly. When you compare the differences between two terms, there is one more question that I would like to ask right now. When you compare and contrast these two periods, you are adding Miro, and you said that it was having more contribution to participation. Maybe it's not a part of your research, but as an observation, I really wonder, in Miro, what were the significant features which has increased this participation? Was it seeing each other's actually the actions or following their researchers and seeing them, they're all active. Do you have any observation? Can you mention anything specific about it? Yes, of course. When we have firstly started to work with Miro, the students were very much affected from some certain things. And this generation directly related with Discord. And everybody was online, everybody was moving, everybody was actually thinking that they were all very active. Maybe for our generation, this may not be something very effective. I love gaming also, but maybe whether they are at the class or not, seeing the moving arrows on the screen makes them feel that they are at class, and more actively they are participating sometimes. And even more than that, when we were comparing and contrasting the second term students, they were not familiar with each other. In the first term, it was essential to have more participation. The first weeks, actually, they were acquainted physically. In the second term, they were not familiar with each other. They have started to create better friendships. Everybody started to get to know each other from their works, from their projects, and all of their behaviors, how it is possible to install someone is installing in some other people's places. I was not interfering in the situation, and really it increased the interaction a lot. And maybe most of the time they are not actually being involved in the past together, knowing that everybody is there and everybody is interacting with each other really makes sense. I have felt that and I have experienced that. In order to quantify everything, when I have watched everything, I have recognized that this was something real actually. So recognizing that the other side is really alive really increased their level of participation. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask my second question to Fazıl Akın. Do you have any opinion? I wonder about that. Can you compare and contrast the actually expert comments? There is a decline in that. What is the reason of that? In the previous presentations, Derya Karadağ's presentation, it was also mentioned the online platforms and that peer assessment, that peer interactions and having a low level of interaction can be the reason of that. Because as a teacher, by being aware of this fact, it is possible for you to make an assessment with a different point of view. Maybe the expert from outside may not have such kind of assessment evaluation approaches. Is it the media or the devices which are being used? Because they have also differentiated. This is what you emphasize. I just want to address this question to you. Thank you very much. I myself attach a great importance to that. And it is because of the attractiveness of that environment, it creates such kind of an activity. There was a park activity, and there was a design activism, and the object itself was present. And on the other side, there is only one visual, which was digitally produced. And of course, you're expecting this quality to be better. When you're making an assessment, it is not creating that much a problem. I'm mainly having a comment that it is the attraction of those environments. Okay, fine. Thank you very much. There is one more last question that I would like to address. I think it can be directed to two panelists. When you look at the online platforms, what points needs to be developed? This is a very important question indeed. In my presentation, it was a little bit clear. Actually, the visual interaction, the visual side should be developed. It's very complicated. When we speak about learning management system, there is a world around it, and there are some certain needs of a certain course, and it is providing that. But when you look at this issue, every lesson, they have their own methodologies and ongoing structures, and there are some, of course, There may be some patches. Miro was connected by us. Maybe if there would be an interaction between two of them, we would be making a screen and we would be showing our panel dashboard in Miro. If they can work with an integrative approach, the ecology of the devices in computer design, we discuss it a lot, integrating more than one design tools more and integrating, making them collaboratively. There may be such kind of an integrative approach. And with some having more interaction with the teachers and by considering the needs, it is possible to develop the integration. I have a similar response for you. Maybe Miro is a very good example. Blackboard is a Moodle, can be shown as a bad example. Moodle and Blackboard are problem-solving type of actually infrastructures. But when you consider a design education, sometimes they are battles. Miro's strongest point is it is an open-ended space. There is a totally white area and you're adding something on that and moving towards. And about design education, more open-ended and more user-oriented type of environments would be ideal. It would be much more better. Thank you very much. I think we have no other questions, and we would like to thank our speakers for their contributions. I'm concluding the session here. At 2:30, we will have closing speech. If we have no change in the program. See you back 2:30, and thank you very much for joining us today. We thank you.